All righty. How we doing? What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Propping Up, the final one before NHL goes on Christmas break for a couple days. I'm GriffyBets, joined by Walla. We're here on the Gold Boys Network, brought to you by Pickett, the top app for tracking your plays, finding the best prices, seeing what your friends are on. And if you're not on Pickett yet, you really should be. Make that your New Year's resolution. All right, Wednesday. Walla, how we doing? I think you've had a nice couple days. I'm feeling pretty good. Uh, let's keep it rolling. How you feeling?
Yeah, definitely good. Been a lot of these angles we've been talking about have been coming through. I know on the show on Monday, uh, we covered like a lot of stuff, and I feel like if you wrote down any notes from that show, you probably hit some bets. So that was a really good feeling. I think I even ended the show saying, make sure that you don't just follow the bets that we like post and do because we covered so much, and hopefully you listen because I feel like almost everything that we brought up and we didn't actually bet hit that night, which always happens, but it's still a good couple days overall.
That is a great call. If you're watching, grab a pen and paper, because not everything is going to be, putting Gold Boys or on Twitter, wherever we may be. So grab a pen and paper as we break down some things, and if something resonates with you, let it rip. Because yeah, even yesterday, all these names I wrote down in my notes that it's always depressing to look back on my notes later and be like, oh look, all these guys that didn't play hit. I wonder why I didn't play them. So I'm sure that's how it'll be again tonight. But I already locked in a decent amount of bets. I'm feeling good. Why don't we jump in to Devils, Florida at first? New Jersey, usually not a team I'd like to target, but with a backup goalie in that, on a back to back, and just Florida being at home, I'm pretty comfortable still going to the Panthers. I think we're on the same play here. Did you bet him yet, or are you still thinking about it?
I didn't place this one yet. I only placed two before we ended up hopping on the show, but I will be doing this one just because of well, one, what you're saying, the Panthers at home. I mean, I felt it was the same thing last season as well. It was almost matchup didn't really seem to matter at home. Not saying every guy's going to hit every game, but the team itself gets off just a ton of shots when they're on a home ice there. And I think we saw there's a report Barkov uh, is out or might be out.
I think he's expected to be out.
Okay.
Sort of, yeah, the assumption I'm working under, because there is quite a difference with a couple guys when Barkov is not in.
Yeah,
First one being Carter Verhaeghe.
I
Um,
love that play.
he, I mean, he's definitely steady. Just at home, I think he's hitting in what 79% of games this year. Yeah, 79%. I put this in my article today. With Barkov this year in about 24 games, Verhaeghe's averaging 2.75, and without him in 8 games, that bumps up to 4.13 shots per game, which is that's a crazy jump in volume. So Barkov expected to not play, just based on how steady Verhaeghe is at home, and he had three against the Devils 4 days ago. Minus 110 is a super solid price here.
Yeah, and that three against the Devils was on the road too. Um, so I always like seeing stuff like that. Like if I think a player, I like him better at home. I like seeing that, he's come through on the road there where typically, maybe I wouldn't look at him, especially against the Devils. So at home with Barkov expected to miss. I mean, he's already hitting a lot at home, and Barkov has been in some of those games, so
Yeah,
already uh, it's good there. But then just that added stat, like we've noticed when Barkov's out, he definitely gets a few more attempts, and uh, for somebody like him, not a defenseman, those attempts could definitely be more efficient. So like that a lot.
yeah, and just from a numbers perspective, I mean, this is just a look into how I look at things. Those road home numbers I share every day. My magic number to think, okay, let me look at a team for shots is probably around I can see like a 31-32 overlap, like a team that's shooting about 32 times a game at home against a team allowing, 30-32. So the Devils are only allowing 27 on the road, but I think that just bumps up by Florida averaging 37 as a team at home. So that was sort of how I don't like to target New Jersey usually, but um, Florida is just such a force at home that it canceled it out. So just wanted to share that, how I'm viewing things. I don't hate them for points either. Um, I think Florida can get 3-4 goals here, especially against a backup goalie. And I think some of the odds are pretty reasonable. I mean, even Verhage, who's got 4 points in his last three, is only minus 130 for a point. He had one against the Devils. Oh, look at that! It was a goal. I think there's a couple. I like Reinhardt point. He
Yeah,
is
he's been good.
rolling. He's got 8 points in his last four. Pretty automatic at home too. So I like Reinhardt point, but definitely prefer the Florida side tonight.
Yeah, Reinhardt's got a goal in 4 straight, 5 goals across that span. So he's been hot right now. And it's funny, he's only hit his shots line twice in that span. So he's just like, he gets his opportunity and he really makes the most of it. So he's been hot right now. But yeah, I've Verhage's the one with that volume. It's pretty crazy. He went on that run for a while where he was getting off 6+ attempts in like every game. And the past 2 games, he has 6 and 7 attempts. So that volume, he's good with the volume. Like I was saying, just a more efficient shooter getting them on net. So see if the chance for more attempts, a minus 110 line. That's pretty solid.
Yeah, I agree. Some really nice value.
Yeah. Somebody in
Also,
chat talking about Forsling too. Sorry. Forsling does look good at minus 120. He's been pretty solid for Florida. His numbers fluctuate a little bit more at home than on the road, which is, we talk about Florida at home. But if you look on the road, he has like a more steady hit rate at like 3. And then at home, these past few games when he's gone over, he's kind of gone over big with like 4 or 5 4 shots, but he has more games with 2 and 1 mixed in there.
got
But
10
he is
shots
solid
and
minus 20.
10 shots in his last two against the Devils.
Yeah. And the volume is usually there, even in the misses. It's just he's a defenseman, so you get those games where there, for example, he has a game where he had 12 attempts and only 2 on net. So you have to be willing to have that outcome when you're backing a defenseman, which we do all the time. So just keep that in mind. He has a volume, looks great. Tends to fluctuate a little bit more at home though.
Man, I mean, should keep it moving, but just StatMuse is a great resource. When big notable players I find are out, like Barkov. Like I just plugged in Verhage's game log without Barkov this year. His last 4 games without him, which have all been in December, he's got at least 4 shots in all of them, and he's got 4 goals. So I like him for shots, and I like Florida for points. So all of a sudden, Verhage goal is starting to call my name a little bit.
Yeah, sweet. Definitely a line on the shots, and I don't dislike him for a goal. I think that was earlier in the season when he was on that run without Barkov. I I was liking him for a goal a few times, so it makes sense to me.
Is there anyone on New Jersey you like? I've been on the record that I haven't betted Devils prop in a long time. I can never get him right. Jack Hughes looks the best, but I've never hit a Jack Hughes prop this year, and I'm not going to give him a shot now.
Yeah, I guess I'll bring it up. Hughes, he look at his overall chart, and it's way up and down. It's kind of funny. A lot of 2s and 1s, and then huge games. And I'm on props.cash right now, and if I click into the away chart, becomes much more consistent, 64% hit rate, but every over every single hit is 5 or more shots on goal. So take that for what it's worth. Every road hit he's had has been a 5+ shot on goal. His line's 3.5 at -108. So I don't know. That's pretty crazy trend there. And if he gets power play opportunities, maybe he gets some shots. But only 2 last time against Florida.
Yeah,
So,
I guess the only thing you
yeah.
could say, we should definitely jump to the next game, but I mean, Bobrovsky is in net, so worth flagging that, maybe Devils get some goals. They've just been struggling a little bit lately, so I'm gonna
Mhm.
I'm gonna sit them out. I mean, they haven't scored more than 2 goals in 4 straight games, which is crazy to say. So I'll be avoiding New Jersey. The magic dust has seemed to have faded away a bit from that start to the year.
Yeah.
Um, Tampa, Detroit. I don't have anything in this game. Huso seems to burn me every time I target him. I'm off this game, but if you have a look, if you want to highlight before we jump on to the next one.
Yeah, I think just 2 trends that stuck out. Stamkos has a goal in 4 of his last 5 or something against Detroit, I think it was, including this
Yeah,
one
5
this
total.
season, 5 total goals. And then Kucherov is over his 3.5 shots line in all 5 against Detroit since last season. And he can be kind of inconsistent, but what stuck out to me is the past 2 games he's gone under. He's had 3 shots on goal both games, but he's had really good attempts. So if he just gets that one more shot, he hits his line. But the volume has been there, and now he's coming into a matchup at plus money against the team he's hit 5 straight times against. And I think the last time we highlighted him for that angle and scenario, he came through. So that one's on my radar. I wrote it down for today. Didn't play it yet, but definitely, one that I'm going to be thinking about.
All right, good flag. Let's
Hmm.
keep it moving to probably one of my favorite games, Montreal and Colorado. Um, when McKinnon went out, I certainly sat off Colorado for a while. Wasn't sure how things were going to shake out, but Montreal has been getting peppered by shots lately, by teams you would normally expect, like Arizona and Anaheim. Absolutely peppered these guys. So um, since Evan Rodriguez came back 3 games ago, um, I'm seeing quite an inflection point here with Colorado's shots and offense. Everywhere you look, guys are shooting. Um, I mean, they had some good targets: Buffalo, Nashville, Islanders. I wouldn't say any of those are like just juicy shot targets on a given night. They're fine. So I'm pretty encouraged by what Colorado's doing. I think almost everyone looks good for shots. The attempts are just crazy since Rodriguez came back. Um, my favorite probably is JT Kempfer. He's only at 1.5, so you need to pair him. I actually paired him with Reinhardt Point. Got that to, I think it was like plus 150. But what I'm seeing from Kempfer in this 3 game, I'm very siloed here on the 3 games. But in the last 3, Kempfer's got 20 attempts and 11 shots on goal.
Yeah.
And the top line has seemed to be destroying Montreal. So he's top line center here. Really like that volume. He's involved on the power play. Montreal hands out a lot of those. So I think Kempfer at 1.5. I mean, his volume is pretty comparable to all these other guys, and we're getting him at 1.5. So I think he's a great parlay piece today.
Yeah, that's a really good look. You see the last game he went under, but he had those 5 attempts. So volume's there. Um, you would imagine that if he keeps that same volume, he can land another one on net given the opportunity. So I like that. Rantanen's been hot.
Mm-hmm.
Got to talk about him too. He's really stepped up big time. He's hit 4+ shots in 4 of his last 5 with really big hits, 10, 8, 5. So he's looking really good. Nice volume.
Nice volume seems almost disrespectful. I mean, last 3 games, again, there's just
Yeah.
quite this rise that if you pop on props.cash, you can kind of see these things take shape. He got 35 attempts in his last 3, with 20 shots on goal. and
Crazy.
he's definitely leading the power play charge as well. Yeah, I think Rantanen, you could take Rantanen straight. I paired him with another stud on Dallas, who you may have heard of, named Jason Robertson, but we'll get to him later. Uh, I think Rantanen looks awesome too. I mean, even
Yeah,
for a goal, if you want to go gold, the odds aren't that great, but the fact he's shooting so much, that usually helps you put one in the net.
yeah. He's been just like I was saying, he's just stepped up really, really big for them. So that volume's awesome to follow. I don't like you said, he's playable straight. I think minus 128 around there. I'm seeing might be
Mm-hmm.
might be better on Barstool, but you know that volume hard to ignore, and it's a good opportunity again.
I would say at first glance, I thought Kale McCarr looked pretty good. He's up at 3.5 shots and plus money. He's hitting three straight in five of his last six, and his attempts are crazy, double digits in three straight. But those games, Buffalo, Nashville, Islanders, all pretty good defenseman targets, and Montreal is not. So that kind of wiped him off. Maybe he still hits. He's actually leading Colorado in power play shots over the last couple games. But to me, I'm just even you look back farther, he hit against St. Louis too, who we love targeting with defensemen. So the fact if Montreal was even in the top 15, I'd probably look McCarr's way. But since they're actually in the bottom 10, I'll stay off him tonight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. So I think Rodriguez and Rantanen would be two that I have flagged, and then you have Kempfer and yours. That looks pretty solid. So anybody Montreal side or no?
No, I wasn't really liking anything. At some point, Nichushkin has to score. He still has not scored since he returned, and he scored in both games against Montreal last year. I know our guy Ao. Ao was up at like 5:30 putting in goal bets on Gold Boys, and Nichushkin was one of them. So I like the look. At some point, the guy has to score. He's too talented, and this would be a good chance for them to do it.
Yeah, makes sense. All right, keep it moving.
Nash, Nashville, Chicago. You seen anything here?
Um, yeah, I guess I saw a couple people on Seth Jones. I think you're on him, correct?
I am. I actually really like. It's probably one of my favorites of the day.
Yeah, it's solid look. He's been good lately, and I know can only take last season for so much, but he was awesome at home last season. His hit rate from home and away is pretty funny. So seeing him pick it up lately at home, Nashville, they're a target we've talked about a lot. If they aren't disciplined, then other teams can really get the shots up against them.
Yeah, I think Nashville is. I mean, they're letting up over 33 on the road, um, so that put them on my radar. Even though the Blackhawks don't shoot a ton, it's really just ones. The Seth Jones price being minus 102 is awesome. And it's just he's not scraping by this 2.5. He's got four in three of his last four. He hit against the Predators in 3 of 4 last year, and back to McCarr had a big game against the Predators. Nashville's letting up the third most shots to defensemen over the last 10 games. So plus they are getting a little better, but Nashville has always had that penalty problem the last couple of years. They're usually good for 2 to 3. And Seth Jones is right behind Kane with power play shots. So a lot to like. Really nice price. Probably one of my favorites of the day. Him and no, I won't spoil the surprise. We'll get to it later.
Spoiler surprise. Yeah. Uh, looks good to me. You look at the other side, Yossi's cooled off. The volume for him is down. Still getting some shots. It's like 6 attempts, but uh, he was shooting a little bit more prior to that. So I think Forsberg is still down at that 2.5 line, which it's been solid for him, and he's hit against Chicago. He had last season hitting 2 of 3 with a 4 and a 7 in there. So him down at that 2.5 line has been a pretty solid parlay piece. 63% hit rate this season.
Yeah, that's
Nice
solid.
job. Yeah.
Like if you just did not look at Nashville in for a second, obviously Chicago is a great target. They've been letting in so many goals, and their penalty kill is atrocious. It's just kind of a bummer. I mean, it certainly would be a nice chance for Nashville to put something together, but they just don't score on the road, and their power play is so bad. Um, and you'd think the points props would be a little better. I mean, I don't know. If you believe in, bounce back spot, maybe you look Nashville's way for a goal or some points. I just can't really trust them on the road.
Yeah. I I'm not crazy about it. I think there's a couple other angles that just jumped out more than them. So I didn't really write down too much. Just that Forsberg 2.5 line's been pretty solid as a parlay piece.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, Forsberg had 5 points in 3 games against Chicago. He's a pretty steady on the road, but minus 200 just doesn't feel like the right price.
Yeah.
For a guy who's
Let's
only
jump
got.
into the next game. Actually, I think we're not even that excited talking about that one, and I think Edmonton Dallas is a little bit more fun.
Yeah, I'd say so. You on anything yet?
Yeah, one of the first plays I did, I went right back to Heiskanen again. Shots. I brought him up last show, ended up playing him. He's been pretty steady for Dallas this season at that 2.5 line, especially at home. And Barstool had him at plus 100. So shout out to Pickett for that one because I saw minus elsewhere, and I still was like looking at him, but then when I saw that there was the plus 100 line, to me with how he's been performing at home, I like that price a lot against Edmonton, who we're always getting involved in their games, especially defensemen and stuff. But a lot of people on Dallas really look good today. I just that plus 100, it seems really good in this spot, so I had to go with that one.
No, I like it. Yeah, definitely a lot look good. I did Robertson, like I alluded to earlier, paired him with Rantanen, which was around plus 200 on Caesars. I just did a half unit. But, I like seeing it sort of the tail end of that road trip for Dallas. Robertson came alive last game, 6 shots, cash and empty netter for me at 20 seconds left, which was just a wonderful start to the night.
Oh yeah, that was awesome. I had him in a round robin that day. That was a massive round robin. So that was
Just a
one.
full ice empty netter trickled in was nothing
That
like.
was beautiful.
Um, so Robinson's back home where he's been pretty automatic. 10 of his last 12 games he's gone over in Dallas. He had 10 when he saw Edmonton at the beginning of the year. And this is kind of one of those star games, like I just expect him to step up here against Edmonton.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, maybe he was pretty streaky goal scorer at the start of the year, and he scored against Edmonton. You would hope off 10 shots. He actually only scored once, but plus 125 to score is, better than it was last game. Sure, it was against Columbus, but I think Dallas is good for 3-4 goals here again. So maybe look his way for a goal. I like his shots.
Yeah, I mean, you could talk about Hints again. He's been he's been good. I last show I mentioned his volume like tapered off a bit, but then he came right back last game with a 4-shot game on 6 attempts again. He's been liking that number lately.
Yeah, I
He's
found
at plus 102. Seems all right here in this spot. But I have to bring up a name. I'm surprised you haven't mentioned this one. Have you looked at Nurse? Have you looked
wow.
at him recently at all?
I haven't. What's he up
Oh
to?
boy. I thought you were going to be all over this one. He's hit
I
2.5 in 5 of his last 6, 6 of his last 8, plus 134. His volume is up there. Let's see. His last 6 games, he has 8, 5, 6, 7, 9 attempts. I, that's really tempting there. That plus 134. I mean, last season, remember when he was just an absolute automatic play for you at the start of that season, just locking in 2.5 every single time he played. He's
Yeah,
been
good times.
good again, and that volume's up.
Yeah, what's up? Something must, I mean, his time on ice has been way up too. Did they swap around their, he's not getting it on the power play, so I don't know if they moved around their defensive pairings a little bit.
I don't know. I remember there was a game I was watching. I forget who it was against. It was maybe last week or so, and Nurse was going off the ice, and the guy on the other team starts yelling at him like, they pay you something $1 million to do shit, so you don't do anything. maybe maybe that got him going. I don't know. It's just funny. I was watching that game, and then that guy just comes over and starts yelling like, "Oh, you make all this money and you don't do anything." And then here we are, like a week later, or however long it is, and I'm looking, and I'm just like, "Oh my gosh, his volume's up. He's hitting that line again, and he's plus 134." Just I had to bring that up because I knew you loved him so much last season.
No, yeah, I did. It is interesting. I don't love targeting Dallas for shots when they're
Jordan
at home.
Jordan Greenway said it. Somebody just said in chat. Thank you. So yeah, I just thought that was worth flagging at the plus 134.
For sure.
He's
I mean,
balling.
even as he's got a point in two straight as well. And the history between these two last three games have all gone over 8, 7, and 8. So I like Dallas for goals, but if you just expect goals on both ends, yeah, I mean, if you want to get really twisted and project in your mind that this goes to overtime, I was seeing that it was McDavid, Draisaitl, and Nurse was their threesome pairing in overtime the other night. Got a lot of ice time there, so I could see this being a tight game. Maybe Nurse gets a point there in overtime. We'll see if that'd be funny. Call out, but
Yeah, but no, I wanted to bring that up. That's interesting to see that he's hitting that line so much lately.
Draisaitl will probably score because everyone was on him last game. That's the end of my
Fair.
analysis there. I didn't really look at Edmonton too much. I just don't like targeting Dallas at home. I liked other spots more. It's not to say that they can't deliver. I mean, the usual guys will probably come through, but Dallas is not, and Edmonton actually, not getting penalized as much as they were a couple weeks ago. So, all in all, this game was not really on my radar, except on the Dallas end.
Yep.
I don't know if I'm going to play it yet, but Hintz has 2 points in 4 straight against the Oilers, which I found funny.
Were they assists or goals, or did you check?
Mostly assists, but 3 goals too. Well, when you get 8 points, it can be a little of both, but 3 are goals, 5 are assists. Assist is minus 125. Goal is plus 190. I just did Dallas to score over 2.5 in regulation. I paired it with Minnesota team total later.
I like that angle. That's a good one.
Because I think Jason Robertson points looks good. He's got his line's 1.5 for points, but he's got 2-2-3 in his last 3 against the Oilers. Plus 134 to go over.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, we saw him go so quiet for a bit and then just kind of blow up, and I think that's kind of just how it works. How I was talking about Kucherov earlier. These guys, they're not going to hit every single game, but what you want to see is that they're still involved. And I mean, just how Robertson quieted down, and then it's just like he's just blew up last game. I think it's just that positive regression coming into play. So I wouldn't be surprised if he could string together a couple of games and balance out what happened before that. That the 2 points is nice. I mean, you got to imagine they're going to be and the ones doing most of the stuff here. I think that line leads the league in goals. and stuff. The Hintz, Robertson, Pavelski
I can see
line.
it.
So, uh, yeah, him getting back on track, that would be huge. And with Hintz having that nice little history against the Oilers, Robertson can get involved if he does something. That the 2 points look is nice. Who's in that? Skinner? Are they? They're not messing around, right?
It's probably Skinner.
Yeah, and they're not going to throw Campbell at Dallas.
Yeah, expected Skinner is what I'm seeing. Another thing,
Like,
I tend to put more weight into when a team is struggling at something. Like if I want to target, whether it's shots or something like the power play. The Stars power play has not been as successful the last 10 games, but the Oilers penalty kill remains a serious issue. So, if Dallas gets just three, this seems like a good chance for them to sort of right that ship. Because their power play scoring rate has not been doing well. So obviously that would just further help, the Robertson points angle.
yeah,
Because I think they can
he has
score
a power
one.
play point in. He had one against Edmonton when they played last time. So, yeah, I could see that happening again. Them getting it done there.
I do need to flag one more guy on Dallas. This is why I just ended up taking Dallas's team total because I couldn't make up my mind. Jamie Benn has stuck out to me a little bit. He's minus 126 for a point. He's got one in three straight. He had 3 points against Edmonton in November. He's been very involved on the power play. When they do score a goal, he's got a power play point in two of his last three, and he had two against Edmonton in that November game where he had three total.
Wow.
I think his point is really solid. I had it circled last game and obviously didn't take it, and it hit. So just want to flag. I think Jamie Benn is a nice option tonight.
Yeah, he's a definitely a streaky guy, but if you find the right spot, the odds are usually worth it. So I don't dislike that.
Should be a good game though. Is this a national TV game? Because that might make me just do like a Robertson McDavid. Oh, look at that. Yeah, it's on TNT. I might have to just do a little same game parlay of some goals here.
Yeah,
Let's keep it moving. We got two games left. 10 p.m. games, Arizona, Vegas. Uh, this looks good for Vegas. Can't get that analysis anywhere else. Target Arizona. But I think we're both on the same guy, Riley Smith.
yeah. I I'm loving that one. I've been loving these plus money guys who uh they're kind of finding their form again,
Mm-hmm.
uh so to speak. We talked about Owen Tippett yesterday. Everybody was on him, and it was pretty much, I think, the same kind of reasoning I'm looking at here. You had a guy who was opening the season just on fire, crushing the 2.5 line. That was Tippett. That's Smith as well. He was awesome at the beginning of the season, whether it was 2.5 or a floor of two shots. And then they kind of just like faded off, and you could see that in the minutes going down a little bit. The attempts are gone, line shuffling around, stuff like that. But these past two games, his minutes are up, his attempts are way up, and he's converting on those attempts. He has 17 attempts in his past two games, and he's put 12 of them on net. He had 5 last time he faced Arizona. They're just a soft target. Tippett, we were
For
talking
the
about
game
how he,
before.
yeah, and Tippett, we were talking about Columbus being a soft target, and he had been hitting against them. So it's just feels the same to me. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I think it's sort of in a similar vein of, seeing something like Colorado shots ever since they got another competent forward back. Um, the correlation I'm seeing with Smith's jump is Eichel's being out.
Yep, that too.
And he's out again tonight. A nice bulk of this volume recently from Smith is on the power play. Arizona sure loves handing those out. So I definitely.
And one of my favorite things that you brought up, sorry, I had to bring it up and give you credit. Arizona, they give up a lot of power plays, but they which would lead to a lot of shots, but they oftentimes can let the power play kind of drag out a bit, which is nice.
I don't remember saying that, but I'll take credit for.
I remember we were talking about some other point. We were talking about how Arizona, they can let up the power plays, and they just also let up a lot of shots on the power play. I think that was what you were saying. And I don't know, I just like the angle here for Smith with that volume increase to see him hitting against Arizona and yeah, taking that role, like you said, from Eichel being out.
I mean, I might have to. I don't want to have too big of a card tonight, but Riley Smith's goal. He's got 5 goals in his last 3 games. Have any of them been on the power play? He had 2 power play. Yeah, he had 2 power play goals the other day against the Islanders.
Plus
Um,
300.
Vegas's power play has been really strong lately, and Coyotes' penalty kill is not. So I certainly liked. I was thinking about
Okay.
Marchessault point. It just seems a little steadier, even though he's been kind of quiet lately. But I mean, Riley Smith for a goal to keep this thing rolling, plus 165. I don't
Yeah.
know. Seems solid.
Yeah. Okay. So what I'm seeing here, I guess maybe lately, you're saying so Arizona's penalty kill lately, probably not as good, but on the season, they're middle of the pack, which is
That was
what I was
probably,
getting at
yeah.
is they're allowing on the season the most power play opportunities. So the fact that they're allowing the most, but then they're middle of the pack overall in their penalty kill, that would, yeah, that's a little kind of surprising and would lead to the other teams getting all these opportunities and maybe not closing out the power play too quick. But you're saying recently they've kind of tapered off.
Yeah, their special teams in general is flipped. I mean, their power play was
Okay.
honestly not bad either, but now their power play is horrible and their penalty kill. Every time I plug in these fresh numbers, it seems to get lower
Okay.
and lower.
All right. Well, that's good then. We brought that up, but yeah, either way, he's gonna get his chances. We both agree on that.
Yeah, definitely like him. Plus 104 at his shots seems like an awesome price. That was the first one I bet today.
Yeah, love that one.
Yeah, I didn't really look too much more into this game after that. I think um, I liked Marchessault point in a parlay just because he has 4 in his last 3 against Arizona and is so involved in the power play where I think they can score. I don't know. Coyotes on the road. I know we're rolling at home. Like guys like Michelli, we've been liking. Chikrin for a point has been rolling, but a lot of that's been at home. So I'll stay off. I'll stay off them tonight.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, Chikrin. I don't know. He's been awesome on home ice, but it's just not. It's not a spot. I guess that you want to take the risk. I don't know. That's how I feel anyway. They could probably get it done just because it's Coyotes seem to. I don't know. They're the team that seems to surprise everybody and stuff. So I wouldn't. I could see them just getting freaking 2 goals on 5 shots for no reason. It happens a lot, but it's not something I am gonna look towards to find a play in this matchup anyway.
No. All right, let's keep it moving to the last one. Honestly, looks so juicy that I don't even know what to do.
I already know what we're doing. I've already decided it, and it's happening.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's the Wilds visit the Ducks to wrap us up here. What are you seeing?
We are going to play Addison power play point on
You're right.
Minnesota. I think that's what we're gonna do because he has a point in this was flagged by you, a point in 10 out of 30 games this season. And what do you know? Power play point in 10 out of 30 games this season, including 2 against Anaheim, who
Yeah, both
give
games.
up, yeah, both games, one each game. They have the second worst penalty kill, and they give up what the 6th most power plays or something like that, 3.67 a game. So yeah, let me get some of that. Let me get a power play goal that he gets involved on. It's at plus 235 to get one. And like I said, both games against Anaheim, they just are not they're not good at stopping those power plays.
No, yeah, penalty kill's awful, and they like to hand out a ton. And Wild's power play has been pretty solid. Yeah, I mean, Addison, Boldy, and Eriksson Ek all had a power play point in both games against the Ducks this year already. Yeah, I wish we could get a normal point line for Addison, but doesn't really seem to matter because the guy just relies on the power play. I mean, he's surrounded by a couple studs in Kaprizov, Eriksson Ek, Boldy, and Zuccarello. All that guy's got to do is move the puck around. Yeah, I mean, I took the Wild to just score over 3.5 in regulation with the Stars at 2.5. So certainly expect goals and one to be on the power play. Yeah, I'm down for a half unit on Addison's.
Yeah, a half unit for me as well, plus 235. You still can get some back from that. And like I said, he's 10 for 30. So it's not some crazy hit rate here. It's just the matchup just makes so much sense considering that's where his production is coming. And it's a nice price. I mean, any of the games where he hit a point, if his point was offered for plus 100, yeah, still a nice hit, but you could have cashed up the power play point every single one of those times for way more money. So yeah, give me that for half a unit.
I like it. Other than that, I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I might just go same game parlay a couple Minnesota guys to shoot. I mean, all three Kaprizov, Zuccarello, and Eriksson Ek all hit in the two already. Eriksson Ek had 11 in 2 games against the Ducks. They're all
He loves
fine.
to show up against the right matchups, like those teams that just are bad center or good center targets and good shot targets. He, like I mentioned this last time, he just shows up and knows when those are the right the right targets. So he looks great today.
Yeah, if you go on home hit rates or sorry, road hit rates, Eriksson Ek again looks really solid. Boldy looks good.
Zuccarello looks awesome.
He does, but 3 always scares me when I'm only seeing threes. Seems like a sweat. But
Yeah, he's an efficient shooter. One of those guys where you kind of have to he if he gets the volume, that's great because that's when he gets those massive games because he doesn't miss as many, but you have to be willing to sit through a game that might be 3 shots on 3 attempts or 3 shots on 4 attempts, and those can, like you said, get sweaty. But he was on a roll. Everybody was riding him for so long, and then he had a down game. So maybe a bounce back. He has hit against Anaheim both times.
yeah, obviously solid game. I don't think you can really go wrong, at least right now. You'll probably find out later when the game is over if you were wrong. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I might just combine a couple guys for shots. I think we could leave it at that. I mean, it's the Ducks and the Wild have looked really good lately. I mean, they've been at home the last couple games, but it's the Ducks. So
yeah, I did like I was looking and I saw Boldy, looking at his shots or point. You have to look his time on ice to the last 3 games is it's very, very, very big drop. He was on the ice for around prior to this last 5 game stretch. He was on the ice for 19 minutes, 19 minutes, 19 minutes, and he has not gone over 15 in the past 5 games. It's been
yeah, it's a
14,
little
15, 12. So
kind of sketchy.
yeah, he could still get something done against the Ducks, but be mindful that he hasn't been out there as much as he had been when he was, a little bit more consistent.
All right, let's transition here to best bets. Put a bow on this show.
Yeah, I
For
think this
me,
is mostly your slips today, right?
probably. I really like the Kempfer shots Reinhardt combo and the Ranton and Robertson shots. I don't want. Yeah, I mean Seth Jones shots looks great. Riley Smith looks great.
Yeah, I think we can probably we can leave one for the picket play of the day. But for best bets for me, um, I'm liking Heiskanen. I really, I'm really liking the Verhage angle at home with Barkov out, despite the matchup against New Jersey. His volume just it's a nice bump, and he's been so steady at home. So that one stands out to me a lot. I like those two. Uh, but transitioning, I think picket play of the day. I think we should make it Riley Smith. We both liked that one starting the day. Uh, what I was talking about before, that angle has been really resonating with me recently. These guys who maybe fell off for a bit, so we're getting prices that are plus money, but they're having an uptick in minutes. It's not just a couple games where they're hitting their line. It's the attempts increasing, the minutes shooting back up, opportunity presenting itself with Eichel being out, and for Tippett it was that him and Hayes kind of flip-flop there, giving him more opportunity on that top line. So I think that should be the pick and play of the day. You can get it at some plus money. I think I got it at plus 110. Found that on Barstool thanks to Pickett, because it was a little bit lower elsewhere. So it all kind of makes sense for that one to be our play of the day there for Pickett.
Yeah, love it. All righty. Well, we will see you probably in a week. There's no hockey Saturday through Monday. If you celebrate Christmas, hope you guys have a great Christmas. Spend time with your family, friends, whoever's important to you. Thanks for joining us, as always, making it fun to just talk about hockey for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks to Gold Boys. Thanks to Pickett. Let's have a great night.
Yep. Happy holidays to everybody. Enjoy the break if you're an NHL bettor. Take some time off and get your mind right. But hope everybody has a good time. And if you're joining in with us tonight, good luck.